Hey, hi, hello, friends. And I'm back, and I'm resplendent in pink. This video is probably going to be addressing an older videos of Chantal's at this point. Here's the problem. I get a video, I watch it, I edit it. By the time that it goes up, it is already like old news. So I always feel like I'm catching up. And I know that everyone is discussing currently the stream that she did with Natter, where, you know, she's at her place, they're streaming on his channel. I will not be doing that. I might do it for patrons at some point later on down the line. I don't know, but I don't think I'll put it on my main channel because the thing is with making content for Patreon, it might just be like a bonus thing that I do for them. I don't want to make money directly off his channel. I don't want to give him the views. I don't want to give him the attention. I don't like him and I don't want to give him airtime on my channel. For all that I think Chantal's a bad person, there are like levels to this shit, right? Like an ogre, this has layers. So I am reacting to her Harvey's Beezin video. And yeah, let's jump into it.
Just getting something to eat. I had a really late start to my day. I'm really disorganized and mentally ill, so that's why I haven't been live yet and I haven't gone to the gym yet. We went to check out the gym, but I'll get into that in a minute. I'm gonna call her.
Why is it that whenever it comes to doing things that are considered like quote unquote responsibilities, like good for her health, right? So like going to the gym, live streaming for her audience, taking care of the cats, bathing, talking to her friends and family, going to therapy, she's too mentally ill to do those things. But driving around Natter, getting fast food, indulging in all of her negative habits, like just doing live after live after live, even if it's just not anything else but like sitting there, sitting on her kitchen counter for prolonged periods of time. Why is it that none of that seems to make any kind of a difference? Because if your mental health is bad, your mental health is going to be bad no matter what you're doing, right? It's going to be present in all of those situations. But for some reason, it only seems to keep her from doing things that are better for her health. And it's not that her mental health is bad all of the time. She's not depressed all of the time, right? She doesn't have anxiety all of the time. Clearly, she has enough energy to do other things in her life from time to time. So why is it that those aspects seem to get so much more neglect than this does, right? Because I have had depression before. I've told you guys, it might have been chemically induced, but I have had depression before. And when I was depressed, I didn't have energy for anything. Good, bad, nothing. And I know my experiences aren't universal, but the way she describes her depression when she's going through a depressive state, and I put that in quotations because I don't think that Chantal knows what a depressive state actually is for her. When she's going through a depressive state, she will often describe it as, I don't even have the energy to leave my room. I just don't know what to do. I don't have the energy for anything. And that's how I had been when I had had depression. That's how I had felt when I had had depression. But for me, it wasn't just that I couldn't do any of the things that were like good for me. I didn't have the energy to do anything that was bad for me either. I didn't have the energy to really eat. I didn't have the energy to I didn't have the energy to do anything. I would literally just lie in one spot in my room without the ability to really comprehend action. That's the best way I can put it. The idea of movement, the idea of having to like complete something seems so difficult. And yeah, you have to drag yourself out of bed and you have to make little changes because working through it, doing something made me feel so much better. Because even if it was just a tiny thing I could check off my checklist, it made me feel much more secure. Made me feel much better knowing that, all right, I had done at least one thing. I'd gotten at least one thing accomplished today. So she doesn't seem to do any of that. And she obviously doesn't seem to be trying to get better. She obviously doesn't seem to be keeping any of her appointments for her therapy. And she's sitting here and saying, well, I was too mentally ill today to like stream earlier for you guys. I was too mentally ill today to go to the gym. Unless you've been continuously mentally ill for the entirety of your life, clearly that is not true. And clearly you are using your mental illness as an excuse to avoid doing things that you think are too difficult. You don't want to be on camera when you're with Natter because you want to live the life. You want to pretend that you guys are in a relationship and because your audience absolutely violently hates him. So.
Around and see. what's the best option, and then probably go tomorrow to work out. Now, if I do go to the gym regularly, I would usually commit to like a year. So I was thinking like maybe we could like you know, would you guys want live streams from the gym or vlogs, like daily gym vlog of me working out? You can film me, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can film me at the gym?
Yep.
You can't film at the gym. I actually don't think it's allowed. But even if you could, I would really recommend not filming at the gym, especially for live streams, because you don't, maybe some people do, they have the software, they have the capability of editing live streams or recording them in such a manner that you don't invade anybody else's privacy. But for all that, Chantel doesn't really go to the gym, and she said that she feels uncomfortable going there. And more recently, she's even come out and said that she feels like apprehensive going to the gym. And I can understand that. As a fat person, there's a lot of invisible pressure on me. It feels like, at least. I don't really think that a lot of people who go to the gym are sitting there like judging me, but it often feels like people are sitting there and judging me. And I try not to let that impact the way that I behave, but I'm a human being. Everyone is going to react to pressure differently. And I think with someone as insecure as Chantel is, most definitely she's going to feel judged even when she isn't. That's why she calls so many things fat shaming, right? Because she feels judged even when she isn't being judged. So I can understand that it can be hard for her, but just like it's hard for her, it's also hard for other people. And she often has a difficult time connecting the fact that other people experience human emotions the way that she does. And so she might go to the gym and be like, yeah, you know, but I wasn't trying to do it on purpose. But she might put information in there or showcase somebody who really isn't comfortable being on camera. And I think that that is 100% fair. Like I've said multiple times before, there's a reason why you don't see anyone else on my channel other than me, from my family, from anyone really. It's because they don't really want to be on camera. They don't want to be public figures like that. And as much as I can, I try and respect that privacy. Even stories I give you are heavily like edited to only give you information that they would not care about or that will not lead to them doxing. Because otherwise, it's just not fair that a decision I make is going to have such negative impacts, or any impacts really, on the lives of other people, right? So I think it's a terrible idea for Chantel to live stream from the gym. When it comes to vlogs, I still don't think it's a good idea because of two things. One, you're saying that you're going to do these vlogs and you're going to be relying on Natter to film them, which I don't think he's going to do anything for you. And two, it doesn't solve really the problem of her like accidentally doxing someone, because Chantel's incredibly careless, because she doesn't care about leaking her own information, and most of her family's information is already out there. She tends to just be very blasé about other people's information, and she'll just release things. She'll just let people know things that can accidentally lead to people finding out information about others in her lives. Nina reminds you about the friend that she was talking about from when they were in high school, right? And then she tried to like retroactively say, oh, that was just a nickname. It wasn't. Come on, girl. Come on now. And last but not least, she's never going to go back to recorded content, not unless something drastic happens. Like until YouTube demonetizes all of her live streams, like, you know, just right off the bat, I don't think she is ever going back to doing predominantly live streams. And if you guys remember, when she had first started doing live streams predominantly on her channel, I had said that I don't think that the live streams are going to go away. Even if she throws out a video or recorded video every once in a while, no matter what she says, she is not going to go back to that. Because Chantel is at her heart bone idle. She is incredibly lazy. She's a sust pattar. She is never, ever going to do anything that requires more than the absolute bare minimum content. And the fact that the internet has rewarded her is quite honestly sad to me. But beyond that, because now that she has been conditioned to accept essentially money for no work, she is not going to go back to a state where she's getting money for even a mediocre of work. If the pressure builds too much, she might make one offhand recorded video, but she's never going to go back to doing mostly recorded videos. She isn't. She has no ability to change, not unless something drastic happens in her life. And she's not going to follow through with it. That's just how she is. Until there is such drastic consequences of her actions that they cannot be avoided, she will keep avoiding them. Like this whole thing with Natter, like the whole thing with drugs, like the whole thing with her eating.
Food aggression. You mean this? Remember you said to eat like this? Like this? Do it.
I left that in there so that you guys can cringe as hard as I cringed when I watched that. That is somebody trying so hard to create what looks like cute chemistry on camera, to make people believe that they're just so like quirky and adorable behind the scenes, when in reality they are toxic for each other and abusive to each other to various degrees and in various ways. I hate that she did that, genuinely. Partially because that's how she wants to view the relationship and it makes me feel very sad for her, but also partially because it genuinely just made me really, really sick to watch.
It's not that I can't do or don't want to do content for my channel, so I don't really know what to do. Because I don't feel like I really have a mukbang audience anymore. So I'm thinking like vlogs, but I pretty much tell you guys everything in my live streams every day. So I mean, there you go. E.g., I like street.
I'm going to let her finish this thought and then we'll get back to that.
I would miss you terribly if I didn't see you every day. I'm really...
You're welcome for me cutting out her blowing her nose, but there is a billion things that you can film. Do you remember when she used to do the cookbangs, right? Where she would cook the food and then she would eat the food? I would go back to that. And let's not forget, she had a pretty big audience and most people were happy with her Around the World series, with her Time Warp series. People would actually like to see that. If she followed through on that, where she was doing the drive vlogs, where she would go to a different restaurant and she would tell you about the history of them and then she would eat the food from there. People even like that. If you took the effort, there is stuff you could do. Then that's the thing, right? It's not that she's like, well, what would I even do? It's that, what could you do that would be as easy as what you're doing now? And the answer to that is nothing. The only way that she could put in less effort into her content is if she was literally lying in one position, completely asleep, and people were still giving her super chats, which, let's be honest, it's not far from what happens when she gets incredibly high. So I really think that if she wanted to, she could genuinely put some effort in and she could make something that her audience would enjoy. And her audience has a very low standard. I enjoyed the time work. I am part of her audience, right? Even if I'm critical. Very, very low standards. And you know what? I would take a time warp right now. I would take it and I would enjoy it and I would watch it with relish.
Appreciative that you guys are here with me right now, actually. You guys make me feel less lonely. Just because I like to be.
It is not the job of your audience to make you feel less lonely. And the fact that she can say that she is lonely when she is currently with what she wants to believe is her boyfriend, it speaks to the validity of that relationship. If you still feel like that and you are with the person who is supposed to alleviate that loneliness, then girl, there is something obviously wrong. You need to be addressing that. You need to be dealing with that. And if you feel lonely, go make real friends. And that's not to say that the internet friends aren't real friends. Because, no, don't get twisted. Internet friends are real friends. But there is a big difference between the way that she cultivates friendships on the internet and the way that a lot of people cultivate friendships on the internet. Right? Partner's best friend essentially has an internet relationship with him because they were friends when they lived in Washington, and then they both just moved, and we just don't get to see them very often. That's like the long and short of it. It's just not a thing. He's got his family and very big family, and it's hard for them to travel, and we don't travel quite as much to where he lives right now either, just because it's hard. Life's tough, Travel expenses are a lot. So we don't get to see them as much. And because of that, their relationship is mostly over the internet. They see each other via Zoom. They talk to each other via WhatsApp. And that's how they keep in touch. And you can do that. You can have a very healthy, flourishing relationship, even with people who you don't really meet. That's how I am with a lot of my family that's overseas. I barely see them. But I still have a pretty great relationship with them. And you can put in the effort and you can do that, but you have to actually put in the effort. You have to try. And you have to understand that there's a give and a take. They do things for you. They say things to you. They confide in you, and you have to do the same. And there is a level of moderating your own behavior for them, right? If I have a friend who's had like 4 miscarriages and I am like pregnant, I will be a lot more delicate with what I say to them. Not because me talking about my pregnancy is bad. This is not me saying I'm pregnant. I'm giving you an example. But because there is a level of understanding that I might be hurting my friend's feelings here and taking that into consideration. Chantal doesn't view any of that. She doesn't care about anybody else's lives. All she does is take. She does this in every single one of her relationships. And it's why every single one of her relationships eventually fractures. Because there's only so long that people can be in a one-sided relationship. She is the epitome of a toxic person. Chantal is the epitome of a toxic person. I mean, like, look, I'm over the internet and I don't really know her, and even I feel exhausted by her. Can you imagine being a friend to somebody like that?
You know, like, human beings need to eat, need to go to the bathroom, need love. I need to bees. It's in my blood.
Didn't she say that her father was an alcoholic? She might not be lying. I think bees, as in indulging in self-destructive behaviors, might actually be in her blood. There is a component of addiction that is genetic.
Thank you. The skin looks bright because of the ring lights and the filters. I could turn the filter off. Should I go do that? I didn't remember there was never a filter on. But I turned it on now. Because if there is one, may as well use it. Oh, I could turn it on.
So she wants us to believe that at some point she turned the filter off, but then she turned it on again because she's like, well, if I have it, I might as well use it. As if Chantal is ever going to put in that level of effort, first of all. Second of all, it's making her look better, so it's even more unlikely that she'll want to turn it off. And last but not least, Chantal doesn't even know what she looks like without these filters on.
Should I see what it looks like? Hold on.
She's going to try and edit it now.
Will that work?
Nope. No work.
So whenever I go, I don't think it works on YouTube though. Whenever I go into my camera settings, there's a little ting with like a thing. And there's a chin. You can make your chin small. So I went like that to 8. And my chin went, ooh. Yeah. Let me turn them all off. Hold on. I turned everything off. Is it the same? I don't know.
All right. She definitely has filters on. There's a skin smoothing filter on her face right now. If you guys use Instagram, you know there's a Paris filter, I think it is called. It's like a very mildly skin blurring filter. And there's some version of that on her phone that comes pre-installed when you're doing videos, when you're doing, I think she uses the front-facing camera. So if you're using the front-facing camera, it's mostly there so that if you're like Zoom calling or doing whatever the Android version of like FaceTiming is, if you're doing that, then your skin comes across as looking smooth. It engages automatically. And if she's streaming from her phone, yeah, it's going to automatically be engaged. But even beyond that, I've said multiple times now that the camera really blurs the perception of how you view people. I have an incredible amount of lights on me. I have 3 lights right now shining on me, plus my ceiling light. So there's an incredible amount of light that's on my skin right now, and it's blurring and it's smoothing my skin because the more lights that's reflected off of it, the flatter it looks. My skin isn't like, however you think my skin looks in here, it isn't that good. My skin is quite problematic. I have pretty textured skin for the most part. And yeah, you know, some days it looks better than others. But it most definitely does not look great right now in real life. But it will on camera because that's what the camera does. And then, of course, last but not least, it's the quality at which you're streaming, right? How many pixels can you see? The better your camera is, the higher the chances are you're going to be able to see every pore in my face. And human skin has texture. Human skin has consistency. It has like bumps and lumps and all that. Not the way that Chantal's skin looks, this smooth. No one will convince me that her skin is naturally this good when Chantal eats the way that she does. Her hair is falling out, I'm sure, partially because I'm sure she already had thinner hair on the thinner end of the spectrum. But if she doesn't have something like male pattern baldness, which if you don't know is an X-linked trait and can rarely occur in women, no one will convince me that it's just that, because the way that her hair is falling out seems not to match it exactly. So what that leads me to believe is that her hair is actually falling out because of like poor nutrition. And if you've got that poor nutrition, it's going to be reflected on your skin, especially when you're like 37, 38. Because once you get past the teens, once you get past your early 20s, all that shit begins to show up.
So I have a bit of health news actually I wanted to tell you guys about.
Oh dear.
Oh, maybe I'll wait for my next coffee bees. Just like, I don't know. I made an appointment with my doctor because I've been having like, the other day, like when I woke up, I had some blood in my underwear, like at the back, to catch my drip. And I noticed like for a little while actually, like inside my, I feel there's a pain, like as if there's something there. So I just want to get like a colonoscopy and get some like screening for, just to make sure there's like nothing, like not like.
You don't need a colonoscopy, girl. You have a hemorrhoid. Fun fact, hemorrhoids are pretty common in pregnant people. I should preface that with saying with pregnant people. There's a variety of reasons, but one of them is that pregnant women have to go to pee a lot, like a ton. And because they have to go pee so much, they tend to develop hemorrhoids, because when you're sitting on the toilet for that long a period of time in that position, you can develop hemorrhoids. I have quite a few pregnant friends, as you know, right now. And so any variety of pregnancy-related problems, you bet your ass I've heard it. My friends and I are incredibly close. They like tell me everything. There's nothing wrong with having hemorrhoids. It's just, it's a thing that happens like everything else that happens, you know. Sometimes it's because of something you're doing and sometimes not. In her case, I very much so believe it's because of her dietary choices. I mean, I'm sure her weight and her other health complications are not exactly aiding in this, but Chantel does not have a gallbladder, and she eats a tremendous amount of incredibly terrible fatty foods. That's going to cause her to use the bathroom a lot. She goes to the bathroom a lot. By her own admission, like 12 times a day. That is more than most pregnant people I know. So it is no surprise to me that she's developed a hemorrhoid. And you can have internal hemorrhoids as well, by the way. Your butt has two sphincters. There's the outer sphincter and then the inner sphincter. You can develop hemorrhoids between the two of them as well. And now, for TMI that no one wanted, let's continue.
Hemorrhoid? Ooh. No, it's like inside. It could be a polyp, yeah. But I need to have a colonoscopy, and then we have to do a post-colonoscopy video because you know why.
She's giving us, oh God, that face phrase. I hate it so much. I hate that look. But no, you don't need a colonoscopy for this. They can literally just stick your fingers inside of your butt and they can like check for that kind of thing. And a colonoscopy is both expensive and it could potentially, given her, she's on warfarin if I remember correctly, which is to help her clot. No, which is to, not clot, the other way. It's to help thin her blood. It's a blood thinner. So given the fact that she is on blood thinning medication and the fact that she either takes too much or not enough of it, it is not really recommended to do anything too invasive with her because she is like a walking hazard. I highly doubt they're going to recommend a colonoscopy if there isn't something seriously wrong with her. And I hate this look that she's giving me.
Remind me later tonight, I want to watch with post colonoscopy videos. Whoa. Has anyone been to Amsterdam?
Yes, I have.
Amsterdam?
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it true that prostitution is legal there?
No, not so like the thing.
Really?
Yeah.
There's just,
Nice one.
there's just like, is there men too in the windows going like this?
The thing.
How do I go like this? Oh, and what about weed?
So I've been to Amsterdam, And yes, prostitution is legal there. It's also very tightly controlled and highly regulated, which is why a lot of sex workers are quite safe there, which is amazing, right? I fully believe sex work is real work. It should be legalized and heavily monitored, because I think that there is a lot of abuse of sex workers that can happen if you've got a system where they are considered to be illegal. This is a profession that's always going to exist. You might as well make sure the people who are engaged in it are safe. And so when I had been to Holland, it had been Amsterdam. I think Holland is now Amsterdam is a part of Holland. It's difficult. I'm dumb also. So I don't know if it's like technically the Netherlands or if it's like Holland is its own thing. Or maybe they're just used interchangeably. If somebody understands this more, my history of Europe outside of the world wars is not great, because that's all I was taught. So if someone can let me know, I'd appreciate that. But yeah, so when I had gone there, there was like an entire red light district. I'd walk through it. There were like windows. They had like ladies and in some cases gentlemen dancing. And some of them, they did have like price displayed there and everything. It was like honestly pretty cool to see. As for weed, they're going to talk about it a little bit here. Weed was everywhere. People were smoking it everywhere. They were eating it everywhere. I think I'd gone into like a souvenir shop. And like right as I was like leaving, there was a bowl of like lollipops, of weed lollipops sitting there. And the guy goes, "Oh, you can take a couple if you want." So it was like everywhere. And it wasn't just there either. We'd gone to Belgium on that same trip. And in Belgium, they have like chocolates are a big thing there. They have a lot of, oh my God, such good like truffles and whatnot, like amazing chocolates. And so when we'd been there, there were a lot of chocolates that were infused with cannabis. And it was pretty interesting, like really, really cool to see just how prolific they are, the different uses of it there, and the easy atmosphere that people have around it. It made me very hopeful for the US in particular, but for the world in general, because as long as I think it's like taken responsibly, I think weed is definitively a more safe option, a more healthful option than like say alcohol is, which can do some pretty extensive damage to a person if they're overindulging even semi-regularly.
Is it there? You can just smoke it in the shops?
Long time ago, before legally, I have place in the park, just smoke. Like this, just very small.
Really?
Yeah. In the park, outside.
What else is legal there that's not legal here?
Everything legal.
The hell, why are we living here? BJ. Why are we living here?
I want to imagine Chantel in Amsterdam so much. If you haven't been or you haven't seen pictures, you'll understand. Like if you've been or you've seen pictures, you'll know. Amsterdam is a bicycle-infested hellhole, and I mean that with love. It's one of the most amazing things about it is outside of the tulips, there are more bikes than people. I swear to God. Driving a car in Amsterdam is nearly impossible. First of all, bicyclists have right of way more than I think anybody else, but pedestrians are second. You walk everywhere. You can't drive through anywhere. God, do I hate the freeze frame I'm on right now. But can you imagine Chantel having to walk everywhere in Amsterdam, having to like waddle her ass over to get herself a McDonald's? Because that's what she would have to do. Like public transportation there is pretty great, but even then it involves a fair amount of walking. When I had gone to Europe, everywhere I went, I was walking nearly 10 miles every day. And of course, it was more for me than it would be like for an average like person residing in Europe, right? Because I was going to see a lot more places. I had a shorter period of time there. I wanted to see all of the touristy places. With someone living there, you might not have to do that quite as much, but that doesn't mean that you won't have to do it at all. She would definitely have to walk so much more than she's walking right now. And I would give anything to see her try.
Let's go to Amsterdam. Murder is not legal there, Careless a snob. Fibers report for duty. I missed a spot. Thank you. Let me explain something.
I don't know why she doesn't get hair plugs. I think it's called a hair transplant now, and the technology is technically different. But genuinely, she could expense that, and I think it would help her confidence levels so much. As for things being legal there, I'm pretty sure mushrooms are legal there too, but I don't know if anything else is. You guys can tell I'm a square. I don't do anything. I didn't even do weed when I was there, so it's just not my scene. I just don't like being incapacitated in any way, shape, or form. I don't take anything that like alters my mind. Whatever wits I have, I'd like to keep them, thank you. But if anyone knows, if you are more familiar with it, I would love to know. I could Google it, but then I couldn't get you guys to do my work for me. And in the spirit of Chantel, I want to take the second option.
I think about you guys and my channel on average every 3 minutes. Bless you. And I will just say that my content has been live streams for like the past 7 months because I enjoy them and because that's why I made memberships. VIB streams, that's what you get for being a member for $4.99. That's the base. And you get emojis. I put myself out there and made poses like this so that you can have an emoji.
You were doing all of that well before you had a primarily live channel. The reason you started doing lives is because you started doing them occasionally first. Then you started doing more and more often. And then because it was easy content. Look, I don't do lives very often on my channel. When I have someone interesting I want to talk to, which I'm hoping to have a couple more people come on maybe at some point when I feel a little bit more comfortable again. I don't feel comfortable having lives very often because it's hard. It's hard to be entertaining on lives. It takes a special kind of talent. You need to be very focused, which I'm not often. You guys see, I'm a lot more focused when I am like talking to you guys like this than I am when I am in a live because I become scattered a little bit. It's hard to keep track of everything. And the last part of it is that it's really easy for me to go through and edit out anything I don't want you to hear. Sometimes I say things and then I think about them and I'm like, oh, this is maybe not okay for me to share. And so I'll just go and I'll clip it out. And I can do that when I am doing a pre-recorded video. When I'm live, if I say something, it's out there on the internet forever. And it doesn't matter if only 5 people heard it. I'm still putting information out there that I don't want exposed. That's why I don't do lives very often. Chantel doesn't care. Chantel has no concept of personal responsibility or shame. That's why she doesn't give a shit about doxing other people. That's why she is generally so sloppy when it comes to lives. Because she's put her entire life on the internet and she thinks that because she's doing it, it's okay and other people will feel the same and will be okay with her sharing all of their information, all of their business too. And she's not a conscientious person. She's not a nice person. So she doesn't care that people don't feel the same way, obviously, as she does. So I just think that we are here. The lives are going to stay. And like I said before, until YouTube demonetizes those lives, she's not going to stop them. She is incapable of it.
If you want something else, I understand that. And I will be doing my own recorded content. But for the time being, this is what it is.
When are you going to be doing this recorded content? Because like I said, one-offs don't count. Make a schedule. Even if it's one video every 2 weeks, make a schedule and stick to it, and then people will be willing to give you that breathing room. And by the way, something she said earlier that I forgot to address. She said that, I think about my channel every 3 minutes. But what thoughts do you have? Is your thought, how do I improve my channel? Or is your thought, I have to do this because otherwise I won't have enough money. Like, look, I'll be honest with you guys. I have my, I bought a, let me see if I can grab it. I bought a mic. I bought this, it's like an audio, it's for audio, and it's a pretty good device from my understanding of it, and it works, but I can't get it to sync up with what I'm using right now as my camera, which is my phone, right? So I used some of the funds that I got from my channel, and I bought a thing, and I'm trying to make it work, and unfortunately, it's gonna have to wait until I can get the camera that I want. It sucks, but it is what it is. But that's my thought. I don't think about this channel all the time. I don't even think about it every day. But when I think about it, I think about how to improve it, things that people have said, things that made an impact on me. I think what she thinks about is how can I get more money out of them? How can I keep affording this lifestyle? I don't think she gives a crap about the people who are actually giving her these funds. I don't think she's ever given serious thoughts on how to make her channel better. And this pie in the sky of I will do this thing one day thing doesn't count. It's looking things up. Like when I think about, how am I going to make my channel better? I make a note of it to myself on my phone. And then later on, I researched extensively and then I bought a mic that I thought would work for these purposes. Not what she's doing, which is just sort of thinking about maybe improving my channel, maybe doing some recorded content, without any effort on her part to follow through on it, without any plan of how to follow through on it. Everything she leaves up to us. Oh, I don't have any ideas. I don't know what to film. And she puts it out there hoping that someone will come back to her and she can like think about it, she can bring it up, and then she can actively dismiss it for X, Y, and Z reasons. She doesn't want to go back to to non-live content because it would be too difficult on her. And she doesn't care that everyone hates the lives. Everyone hates the lives. Even if you like lives in general and like her lives in particular, the number and frequency with which she does lives is horrible. Her fans cannot keep up. I mean, I have given up trying to keep up. I miss videos all of the time, and if it wasn't for like Just Saying and It's Water Weight and Barbecue Chicken and the people who are doing the compilation videos, in particular Just Saying, because I think she does like the quickest and most accurate job of it, I would not know what's happening at all. At all.
No, I didn't. The litter box has been cleaned out, changed, everything. Yes, Pete did it. Okay, I'm sorry, but I was gonna help him with it yesterday, but he did it before, so I really appreciate that he did that. So
Pete had mentioned on his channel that they have a very big litter box and that he was going to try and like scoop everything out of there, but that he needed Chantel's help to actually clean everything out. So when she's saying that Pete actually did it, what she means is that he scooped out the litter box. But the litter in the litter box actually also has to be changed, no matter how big it is. And we know for a fact that they don't do it with any kind of regularity because we've seen cats shitting on the floor. Cats are really fastidious at, I can't pronounce the words. They're very clean. They're very like neurotically clean animals. And you know what it is? If your cat's like pooping everywhere, then that means that there's something deeper wrong here. Cats don't pee or poop anywhere if there's like a litter box available to them and they're emotionally healthy. The two reasons that they'll pee or poop is A, if they don't have a clean place and this is where they live, or B, it's when they're incredibly stressed, like my sister's cat who has anxiety problems and is just generally the worst cat on the planet. They don't do it anywhere else. So she's like, okay, it's clean now. You didn't clean it. You don't get any props for it. We don't have to feel better because you didn't do shit. And even what Pete's did is barely acceptable. It's barely enough. So don't you sit there with your smug ass face on when you're like actively neglecting those animals. For all that, I've told people not to call animal control, and I don't think you should, because I don't think it's going to be helpful, and you could be potentially taking away resources from someone who could like actually benefit from this. It doesn't mean that your behavior is okay or fine. It's just wrong, and you are still being a piece of shit to those animals. They deserve better. All right, so that will be it for the video from me. This was a shorter one, I know. I didn't have as much to say about this video. I'm gonna see if I want to do a react to the video of Natters on my Patreon. Patrons will be getting a different video up today as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like conflicted. I feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it is part of the narrative. So I'll give it some thought. And as always, if you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you hated it, give me a thumbs down. All of those good things. Leave me a comment, subscribe, hit notifications, hit the bell if you want to know when I upload any videos right away. I've got all my social medias linked down below: Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. Think of Patreon as the tip jar for the internet. So if you like the job I'm doing here and you want me to continue, consider tossing a few coins in my direction. You don't have to, and it's not necessary, but I genuinely do appreciate it. And I wanted to say a special thank you to my $25 patrons, Oceana Songs and D. Higgins. And we have a brand new patron this month. Thank you so much, Juju. And as always, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace. That's not what I do. Peace. A special thank you to my patrons: Acrophobe, Ariel M, Christina, Courtney EP, Dainty B, Lori H, Sidra Z, Colleen L, Debbie E, Juju, Just a Jude, Kate O, Sonia P, D. Higgins, and Oceana Songs.